Hey guys, welcome to the next episode. In this episode, I wrote a letter to my mom. Let's jump in. Dear Mom, I've been writing to you on little post-its and pieces of paper for many years now. I know you love them a lot. You are able to keep it, cherish it, have it on display. You are able to reread it and know I am sincere about the messages. I don't know why I started doing it, but now I know I can't stop. I wanted to write this letter because I wanted to put my thoughts into tangible words. I'm also able to put my emotions that can be sometimes hard to express, or just never having the right time to say it. Writing is a good tool that has been around for thousands of years, but it is a lost art. Each word can't be done through a simple email, nor can I say everything I want to say in person. I hid everything bottled for such a long time. I hid almost everything, all my pains, worries, and anxieties. What I didn't express on the outside does not mean it was killing me on the inside. I didn't want to be a source of negativity, so I just didn't say anything. I can't believe what I've been through. I can't believe what you guys had to go through to this day. While I was too young to comprehend of anything that was happening, I only know the story that you told me. You guys must have been so scared that having all these questions but with no answers as I was growing up. Not knowing how to deal with a very special case of me. Having no help and everything had to be done through phone calls and meetings. No internet blogs or groups to go to. No one person to go to help. It was just you two. I know Dad had a business and that in itself took a lot of time. But you both took time to deal with family matters. Time can be the greatest thing in the world, but it could also be the worst. There were simple decisions that you had to make and others very difficult. You made the decisions that would determine the road I was going to go on. I could have been deaf and that would change the course of my life, but I didn't. You were there to make the most logical decisions any good parents would make and you followed your guts. I must have been a hard child to raise, not knowing how my body was going to turn out, not knowing when the next flare-up was going to happen, and how it would affect me going forward. You took a difficult decision to let me be with safety attached to it. As I grew older, it was more apparent that I was unable to defend myself, care for myself, and just couldn't do it anymore. I don't blame you for putting me in a situation by people who needed to understand who I was and what my body was capable of doing. While I hated it for the most part, you did what you thought was right. I must have been a huge SOB growing up because I didn't want to listen to you guys. I cannot deny it. It never really struck me when I was younger what my body was capable of doing. I was too stubborn about it and thought I could determine my own path and power through it. While being stubborn has its best qualities, it's the only reason I am here today. If I listened to you guys and followed your direction for the most part, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be away from college, living my own, so to speak. I wouldn't be putting myself out there to tell my story. I wouldn't be walking and be wheelchair bound. While I try to be less stubborn, I do always listen, but I sometimes have to take a chance. I'm writing this letter in a calm and clear state of mind. I spent a lot of long and lonely nights, too many to count. I've been through hell and back, physically and emotionally. I've been at top of the world and bottom of the sea. You may never understand how I feel or what I felt. I can only tell you what it feels like. It was extremely difficult to come to terms with myself, especially through high school. I wanted to accomplish and do all these things, but I physically couldn't. I wanted to make you guys proud, but I couldn't in my eyes in the ways I wanted to. I was just so severely limited. Annie was getting medals and honors, and I was just sitting there in what felt like a big black hole. I just felt alone, and that the whole world was against me. I didn't know what to do. I went to school and did my speech therapy, but it didn't feel adequate enough. She was always a talk of family, where I struggled to have a level of normalcy in my life. I was struggling to reach the bar that everybody was already at, and kept going beyond that. I always had this feeling that I was going to become something big somehow, but just never knew how. It was always a small fire and it kind of kept me going. There were some days where I didn't know if I was going to make it to the next day. I did know that you guys were there for me. You always were. There were times where we hated each other's guts and never wanted to talk to each other again. We called each other names I will never forget. I also won't forget all the times you sat by my side. You always wanted to be by my side. Whether I was getting all the tests done and not knowing what the future will hold. You sat there when I was going through my worst flare-ups at all kinds of hours. You took care of me when I just couldn't anymore. I didn't know that you guys were there for me. You always were. There were times where we hated each other's guts and never wanted to talk to each other again. We called each other's names I will never forget. I also won't forget all the times you sat by my side. You always wanted to be by my side, whether I was getting all the tests done and not knowing what the future will hold. You sat there while I was going through my worst flare-ups at all kinds of hours. You took care of me when I just couldn't anymore. I know you guys will have done anything for me. It just sucks that the disease was out of anybody's control, and you just had to watch it unfold. I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for everything. I will always love you from the bottom of my heart, 'cause you're my mom and dad.